So I think it's important to, oh, like my little ring light's over there. So now it's like flashing on my screen. So this is kind of funny. Excuse me while I move it a moment. And, you know, I love subjects like right and wrong. I feel like get really like fired up when you start saying, well, there is no right or wrong. They're like, what do you mean? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to tell me that like killing somebody or raping somebody isn't wrong? Oh, that's like, okay, I'm not even gonna go into like massive like hysteria around clearly like super egregiously wrong things like murder. Although murder can be justified even in some instances, depending on what the circumstances are. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm talking about these like places where like you, me, him, her, whoever loves to come up with these lists of like judging people, and it's like, oh, she does this and he does that, and that's just wrong. And I'm not again talking about this like massively serious stuff. I'm talking about how people get on a highway, how they drive, what kinds of things they say and do, how they handle their feelings, how they show up, how they don't show up. And people are like, well, that's just wrong. I mean, she shouldn't have done that. I mean, she could do some serious harm, you know. And the funniest part of it is the people who are so like righteous about what everybody else is doing wrong are like thoroughly, almost exclusively and constantly perpetrating their own harmful behaviors on other people. But they love to sit in this place of like, well, I would never do that, or I would never act like that, or I would never treat people like that. And anything that you see about the way other people think, or the way that other people act, or the way that other people treat people, you are capable of as well. It's called human nature. And that's why it's so horrifying when people really, really do crazy, crazy, crazy sick things, like serial killers, all kinds of other stuff like that. You're like, how could that happen? It could happen because people are hateful and harmful. And if that hate and harm is not addressed, it gets really ugly. And that's human. That in fact, if the hate and harm that you feel within you isn't addressed, you will spend your whole life trying to make it about somebody else, or you will harm other people. And yeah, the people who commit massive harm, um, that's a whole different level of harm. But in my interpretation, it's a harm that anybody is capable of. So I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about, somebody they're not exactly feeling loving towards, and it was just this list. Almost like I felt like it was a spreadsheet that you just tabulate the formula, and like, well, she does this, and she does this, and so it's just when you at sum at the bottom, it's like equals asshole. So now you have this confirmed list of data as to all the reasons why this person is a schmuck, an asshole, an idiot, whatever it is, whatever word you like to call people. And then you just like cannot be convinced otherwise because your data has been formulated, the sum has been done, and that's it. And then you're just looking for ways to justify your opinion or label of that person. And you'll never get out of your own way until you decide that maybe your math is wrong. Maybe, in fact, it's not about what the person is doing, but how you're summing it up and what your expectations are and what your judgments are. And especially, I mean, like more than anything, people's expectations and judgments that I hear aren't even about what they think is pervasively right or wrong. It's about what they're doing that's right, that everybody else should know is right. And that person isn't doing this. And how could they do that? I would never do that. I mean, I know people like this. You're probably one of these people. That's right, you. And, it's just so funny because you sit there and you listen. And as I'm listening to people who I love, by the way, and I love everything about these people who act like this, both their clarity, their lack of clarity. And I just sit there and I watch and I'm like, you actually don't believe that you're not capable of acting like that, do you? You're not actually so pious that you believe that you wouldn't or couldn't or don't behave like that in some fashion or way because you cannot see what other people do and label it unless you're clear that you can see it within yourself. But see, this is a part of the problem, is that people don't understand that it is within them. Because if it's within you, then you can see it. If it didn't exist within you, you wouldn't be able to spot it, right? It's why, there are some people who just don't bother people, and there are some people who bother everybody. It's just that kind of thing. What you see is a byproduct of your own experience and your own interpretation and your own judgments. So while we're talking about taking sides, if you're steeped in neutrality, the kind of neutrality of unconditional love, you don't have to take sides. And it doesn't have to be about whether or not you're right or wrong. And if someone tries to poke holes in your ego, they're not trying to make you wrong. In fact, they're just asking you maybe to see another way. Because for me, if I'm taking sides and insisting on being right, and then I want to make somebody else wrong, and I'm in constant rage, anger, and discord about it, why do I need to be right exactly? I mean, what is that bringing me? Other than self-righteous anger fueled by justification and harm and perpetration, and I hate to say it, being a victim. Because anytime my emotions are about what you're doing and thinking, I'm a victim. So there you go. Taking sides. I don't know. Check it out sometime. Think about what if you actually decided there wasn't a right and wrong and you can just show up without having to take sides of right or wrong, either on your part or anybody else's part. See what happens. Have a great day.